John, I suppose the first thing is congrats on the new contract. Signed for another 2 years, we heard last night, which is great news. And going on from that, one of your stated objectives is to get your hands, obviously, on silverware for the club in the coming years, but a big opportunity on Sunday to get to the cup final, even though there's a tough game in hand.
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, delighted to get another 2 years. Obviously, we've come from being nowhere in 5 or 6 years to qualifying from Europe. We're close again this year, but more importantly, like, we have an opportunity, you know, to get to the FAI Cup final, where we haven't been for 8 years, and you know, so it's a massive challenge ahead of us on Sunday, but at the same time it's a real opportunity. And you know, I said from day one when I came in, I want to get the club back up there, challenging, competing back in Europe, trying competing for trophies, hopefully winning trophies, and that's the aim, that's the goal. And you know, we're looking forward to Sunday. We know how difficult it's going to be, but still, it's 90 minutes between us and them, and the opportunity to get to the final.
All their games have been tight with everybody, but particularly with ourselves. Yeah. I think it was 2-1-0s and a 0-all.
Yeah.
So a huge challenge, really, isn't it?
Well, you see, to be fair to Bray, you know, they've been underestimated. I suppose they've been a little bit like us last season, and you know, probably people haven't given them the respect they deserved. And obviously, there's a slow start to the league season, and there's a lot of chopping and changes of managers, which, you know, probably affected the club, but to be fair, didn't affect the players. So they've done phenomenally well, and they've, you know, 5 or 6 really good players in the middle of the park. McAvoy, Kelly, really strong players. Lyons has done very well up front, but at the back, I think, is, you know, Cherry won the league with Dundalk last year, and McAnally and Cooney at centre back, and Douglas on the right. So, you know, they have a lot of fellas who have, you know, been around, they play with good clubs, and but they've got to an age, probably in a good age, where, you know, they're solid and they're doing really well, and they've caused a lot of problems. And you know, obviously they feel they're going to win. They're at home. Big game for them. A lot of people are tipping them to win, so we know it's a massive challenge. But as I keep saying, you know, there are 2 trophies in this competition, the league and the FAI Cup, and we have an opportunity to get to the final. And obviously, being our first semi-final in 8 years, you know, we're looking forward to it. Big
loss for them today. We got the suspension list. David Cassidy, who was player manager, I think, for 1 game, he's out on Sunday.
Well, Dave is a very good guy, and has been a very good player. Obviously, previously with Shelburne, did really well, you know, and has done really well for Bray. So he's a loss. But at the same time, I suppose, you know, we've lost Colin Healy. He's been out for, you know, and has been a massive loss to us, because he's been a hugely influential player. Obviously, John Cavan is out, and at the minute, between sickness and knocks, you know, we have 4 or 5 fellas at the moment that haven't trained this week, so it's not the ideal situation. But at the same time, you know, it's a cup semi-final, and I'm sure everyone is going to be bursting Sunday to be on the starting team. So, sorry. It's just been funny. It's, you know, we just had a couple of guys who've picked up sickness, have been flu. 2 or 3 guys carrying knocks. It's, you know, since last Friday night, we about 6 fellas haven't trained, so it's just been a weird week, because you would imagine it'd be the week that everyone would be bursting to train, but on medical advice they can't. So you know, we were down training this morning with 11 players and out of a panel of 22, so that's just the way, and 3 of those were goalkeepers. So you know, that's it's but look, it's Thursday, a couple of days we expect things to, you know, to turn around. Pretty good lads over a bit of flu, a bit of sickness, but looking forward to Sunday.
And of course the 2 lads are cup tied as well, Stephen Beattie and Stephen Fawley, so that cuts down your options, really, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly, obviously Stephen Fawley really hasn't played much at the moment, because obviously he'd been away, he'd been off for a number of weeks, but obviously Beats, because he's done really well since he's come in, and you know, it would be good to have him, but we don't. But sure, we know that, and you know, they're likewise, they're missing O'Sullivan, who's cup tied for them, so you know, they have Cassidy out. So look, I think it balances itself out, the fact that we have Beats and Healy and these guys out as well, you know.
And Colin and John Cavan would be the definites.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, John Cavan, unfortunately, is gone for the season, and you know, but Colin will definitely be out. Yeah.
John, is going to be such a tight game, and the previous opponents have been first goal could be key to it.
Yeah, but it seems that way. Like when you look at the results.
So they have score first, they'll probably just kind of shut up shop.
Well, they're very, very solid and very well organised, and they defend in deep, and they literally defend with 10 behind the ball and leave lines up on his own, and they break quickly, and that's why they don't give away goals, and plus the fact they're good defenders and they have a good defence as well, but really strong in set pieces, score a lot from corners and free kicks, and so we'll be doing a lot of work watching what they do well, and so. You would imagine it'll be a very tight game. You would imagine one goal would decide it, but
Said that then the last league match has no bearing really, no relevance going into this.
Our last league match. Our last league match.
No, they nil all job there on September the 5th, like that.
Well, it have a bearing in the sense that I think both teams are going to be similar, and I think the type of the style of the way they play and the way we play was that they set in, hit us on the counter, we were trying to score, and it showed how difficult we found it to open chances and get chances, and I suppose it really was only in the last 10 minutes really that we ended up having a couple of chances right through the game. We found it difficult to break them down, and we've been doing a lot of work this week because we feel there's going to be it's going to be tight.
That's been a difficulty, John, this season. Looking at Derry last week, Limerick when they won the game at home, Rovers away, teams that seem to press us high up the field. We've difficulty getting out and getting around. Would you see Bray going down the same road on Sunday?
No, I think I'm not sure. I think Bray might sit back and play in the counters. It's they'll have their own tactics. I'm not sure about that. I think if you look at it, like we Bows pressed us and we won 4-0. Derry pressed us in the brand new, we went ahead and we came back to 1-1 and beat them at home. So I think it's been one of those ones where I think Friday night, certainly that performance last Friday night won't be good enough, and we know that, and we've had a good chat about it, and whether it was the fact that maybe the cup game and fellas just weren't at it, which isn't excusable but at the same time can happen, but certainly last Friday's performance wouldn't be good enough. We certainly need to have performance where I suppose if you look at it over a cup run, we've beaten Wexford away, who won the Premier, who are up in the Premier now. We've beaten the cup holders, Pats. We've beaten Derry, who were in the final last year. So we've beaten a lot of good sides on the way. So it's been a tough run for us. But as I keep saying, it's a massive opportunity to us on Sunday, and and they're hotly tipped. Because people fancy them, and maybe the fact that we didn't play so well is part of the reason, which is fair enough, but we certainly will need to play a lot better than we did last Friday night.
I forgot to ask you about Mark O'Sullivan. He's hopefully back fully fit this week.
Yeah, I'm unsure. He's one of the guys that hasn't been involved with us. He hasn't trained, and there was lots of reports he had a light strain last week. He hasn't had a light strain. He has a serious injury. He's had a serious injury for 2 weeks. So he's a guy that at the moment is certainly probably less than 50-50. So there's been a combination of those things, but at the same time we've been planning with other players and stuff like that, and that's what you do in these situations.
It'll probably be Bray's biggest crowd of the season, because I know a lot of Cork fans intend to travel in.
Yeah,
I suppose to be great to get to a final, to be a reward for the fans for the attendance the past 2 years, really, wouldn't it?
I think I suppose the bottom line, the fans want success. They want to be challenging, and it's been phenomenal since we've come in and taken over, because as a rule we've been up near the top. Last season we ended up second. This year we're still second, so we've been challenging, although Dundalk have put away now, but we're in the cup semi-final, which we haven't been before, so it would be fantastic, and obviously we will bring a big following up with us, and I suppose the excitement around, and a lot of people looking forward to it, so they know how important it is, and it would be fantastic, of course, to get to the Viva.
John, on your new contract, just what has the experience of this season and last, when it came to sitting down to talk about a new contract, what, in terms of your needs and wants, what did the experience of the last 2 seasons teach you when you were talking about a new contract?
I suppose the most important thing is where the club want to go, how they see it, where they see me in the picture. Am I doing a good enough job? The brief for me was basically that I was asked to sort of come in, certainly work on the first team, look after the underage, see we set up an academy. There was lots of things that I've been involved in, so more than probably a lot of managers would do in most clubs, you know, because a lot of other clubs, the managers go in and they just look after the first team and nothing else is their brief. And you know, well, obviously I'm more interested in that in Cork City, and to be fair to the board, you know, so we've done a lot in the sense that obviously our underage structure has been changed this year. We've made quite a lot of changes to it and the structure to it. Obviously we're linked up with the Nagle community, and plus the fact, I suppose, you know, our ethos is bringing through young fellas, and we're constantly bringing them in with the first team training. So there's a lot of stuff with the first team, a lot of stuff on the outside. So I suppose from my point of view, it was seeing to the club, you know, are you going to the right places? Are you happy the way we're going? Maybe the fact that we ended up in Europe so quickly, the expectations went overboard, and sometimes you have to go and say, well, look, when I came in 2 years ago, if we said we'd be in Europe in the next 2 years, would everyone been happy? Most people said, yeah, absolutely. So, but at the same time, we're all greedy. We all want more. We all want to win things. But our win ratio has been phenomenal since, you know, in the last 2 years when we look at it compared to the history of the club. But at the same time, we do want to win more. We want to get to finals. We want to win trophies. But also from my point of view, the board were unanimous in the sense that they just wanted me to keep going. And because I suppose, look at it, as well as that, when I came in, there was a large debt the first year I came in, and you know, with the support I got from the fans and everything, obviously, and the transfer of Brian Lenihan and Garrod Morris to a lesser extent, and Alan Brown, that all helped. And so you know, so that seems that, you know, so the club seems to be in a good position from that point of view. And obviously the development in Glanmire, you know, which is going to be phenomenal for the club, you know, if it gets over the line, because, you know, in the history of this club, you know, we bar this place here, which was our ground for a short period of time, you know, to have our own training base through the FAI that we'll have a 99-year lease on. You know, if that comes through, which it should, it'll just be, for the club itself, it'll be phenomenal. So I suppose, yeah, for me it was that's where it was at. It was like, you know, we'd be joking this morning about finance and whatever, but that's, well, for me. For me, it's not. That was never in the. It was never in the club, and there's very little in that for me, because I'm not that. You know, I'm not. Well, I wanted just to see that the club want me to continue put the work that I'm doing in working really hard with John Cotter and the lads, and I suppose that's, you know, I just want to see, do they want me to continue to do that, and I suppose the way I feel about it is that in any club, no difference, even though this is my full-time job, at the end of the day, you know, I have enough to pay my bills, and my passion is to make the club successful, and but at the same time, if the club felt I wasn't going in the right direction, I wasn't, and they said, you know, John, we don't think so, there's no problem. You know what I mean? Because ultimately I want to be here. If the board want me here, the supporters want me here, and I'm doing everything in my power to and I suppose I'm unique because I think people know who I am, and they know that with my connection with the club, they know I'm trying to do things right, as opposed to being a manager of another club where you just specifically go in and just look after the first team. So it was really, I suppose it was really just having that interaction that, are they happy what I'm doing, and if they are, will I drive on and keep going.
You just mentioned in the statement last night on the club website about wanting a stronger squad.
Yes.
So is that where finance maybe came up in terms of your budget for
Yeah, well, we didn't get to the nitty-gritties of that, but at the same time, you don't have to be a genius to see that from our point of view, you know, I'm looking at making us stronger again next year. You know, like from last year, we were good. This year we've been better. You know what I mean? But the problem is that the Dock have gone further ahead, and so they have set the bar higher again, and we just have to get better, which means that obviously I would look at the situation that we will need to bring in some players, you know what I mean? So without getting into nitty gritty, but at the same time, the big thing for me is that there are lots of players out there now that want to play for Cork, which didn't happen when I was appointed manager to start. A lot of players wouldn't even talk to me, whereas now they want to play for Cork because they can see the crowds, they can see European football, they can see us challenging at the top. So that is certainly, so, you know, and sometimes, as I keep saying, sometimes people are paranoid about money. I'm not. I'm more into sort of seeing the guys want to play. I accept they have to pay their bills and stuff like that, but they need a certain wage. But at the same time, you know, I know they can get more money in certain clubs. So in some situations, about do they want to play? Do they want to play for this club? The opportunity is massive for them, and I think that's why we've attracted some of the players we already have attracted, you know, from outside of Cork, and that's really where a lot of my work will be going in the off season.
John, what do you think of Conway report?
Of who, sorry? I only got glimpses. I haven't read it. Okay, and I suppose, you know, a lot of work has gone into it, and I'm positive and I'm optimistic. And when someone puts that amount of work in and goes around and interviews every club, and he'd be down here, whatever, there's always.
There was 7 managers involved. Were you one?
I was, yeah. You know, and some of the things I said didn't happen, but that's fine as well, you know. And but some, you know, but the way I look at it is that I think, you see, what needs to happen. The biggest thing for me is that, unfortunately, in Ireland, every club thinks for themselves. They only think about themselves, and we need a bigger, wider picture here. And we need clubs to come together and sit down and talk, not just look at is it for me. If it's not for me, I don't agree with it. And the problem with League of Ireland, that has been the problem. Everyone has always looked after themselves. So it's time for, I suppose, like some other organisation, we need all the clubs to come together and say, right, there may be certain things you mightn't agree on, but can we get a compromise? Say there's certain things in this report that are very good that we should drive on with. But I think to implement it straight away for next season, some of the stuff like the 10-team division, I think that would be too soon. I think certainly that needs to be. The clubs need to sit around the table, meet and discuss it, and at least give clubs at least 12 months if that is the way forward or whatever. At least so teams can adjust accordingly.
But there's some, fear that is there much going to happen after the report? Like it has to be a starting point rather than just lip service to what shape is the league in,
Well, to be fair, and I said I haven't gone into massive detail in it, but some of the stuff I've seen in it I think has been quite good. But you're right in the sense that there has to be cooperation between clubs, that they really are anxious to move on. I suppose the biggest problem you end up in this country at the minute is that you have teams who are full-time, you have teams who are part-time, and you have chairmen then on boards who are trying to survive from year to year, and we need to look at the bigger picture and say, how can we really drive the league forward? And if it's just about finishing seasons and working within budget and hoping to survive, we're wasting our time. We need a bigger picture than that, and that's for any business, and we need to treat the League of Ireland as a proper business, and all the clubs need to buy in. So I think you're right. Hopefully it won't be lip surface, and hopefully that when the clubs get together there'll be constructive work done, and there will be hopefully lots of that report taken on board. That would be my plan anyway, or my hope.
10-team leagues though, John, are fraught with dangers. You could win 3 games and go into the top 2 or 3 and lose 3 games and end up in the bottom 3, you know what I mean? Yeah. The worry I'd have is, and I'm sure it will be the same for yourselves and a lot of clubs, this business of only playing 3 rounds of fixtures is going to be totally lopsided. If they're going to go for a 10-team league, they'll surely have to go for 2 home, 2 away. I know it's a lot of games, 36 bloody games, but it seems the fairest way.
I think to be fair, there's a lot of discussion to be done on it yet, and a lot of ways of work. How is it going to work out? Would the season be extended or not? Personally, I think the season should be extended anyway, but there's too many midweek matches. But then I'm sure there are lots of clubs and lots of chairmen and lots of boards who don't want the season extended because it means it's more cost.
Or maybe drop the June break.
Or drop the June break. But at the same time, it's I think there's a lot in that report that has to be thought out, discussed, but then I think there's a lot of it that has to be implemented, and I'm slow to comment on should it be 10 or shouldn't it be. I see the positives and I see the negatives, but I think there's some agreement that if we're going forward with the report, I think we're going to have to implement quite a bit of it, and as clubs we're all going to have to row in behind and do that, and not think as selfish, think in the overall bigger picture.
Finally, for me, anyway, just going through it, to Cork City's credit, you could see how far the club has come in the last couple of years with all the, I suppose, standards that the club is meeting because of, restructuring and everything in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I suppose that's our club, and that's the way we wanted to go. And if we can get more clubs like that, I know Rovers are a bit like that, but we need more clubs to go that way because we have too many clubs hanging on. And just and it's grand to be saying Cork are great at the moment, but when we came in 2 years ago, there was a big debt there, and even though it was a supporters-owned club, a debt had built up which wasn't ideal. So because we just hadn't been successful, and as such, while it can be rosy in the garden at the moment because we're second in the table, and our crowds are generally quite decent, we could quite easily slip back to 1,200-1,300 people overnight if we're not competing. And You know, and that is always the fear. I suppose what we have to do here is try and get our structure in place that we can manage. That we don't rely as much on the gates. And I suppose that's the challenge to every League of Ireland club, that you cannot to rely on your gates. No, obviously you have to rely a certain extent, but I think too often too many clubs are living on their gates, and you can't do that. You have to just work harder at bringing outside sponsorship in and raising money through those methods, because you know, the danger is you have one or two bad seasons, you're in serious trouble. So. But I think overall, hopefully there'll be a lot of discussion and constructive discussion, and hopefully a lot of stuff will be implemented.
National media were this weekend, it was great.
Sorry?
The national media were doing loads of talking about
Right,
it.
okay.
Big game on Sunday, Carol. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a massive game. I've been in 2 semi-finals before and lost both, so obviously I'm hoping it's third time lucky. Yeah, but it's a massive game. We know how difficult it will be from the 3 games we've had against them so far, so we know what we're in for.
They'll be tough to break down, won't they?
Yeah, they're very good defensively. As you can see, most of their games this year have been 1-0, either defeats or wins, so they're very hard to break down, and it's going to be a tough game. We know what we have to do when we're going up there. Everyone has to be at it 100%.
Last Friday's performance, just to look back at it, it was disappointing all round, so a huge improvement needed.
Yeah, it does. I think everyone knows last night was a letdown from everyone in the squad. I think we let ourselves down a bit, and it's something we want to put right. We've had a hard week's training this week, and I think everyone's around to go now for Sunday.
Bray, like, they're at home. Their league form hasn't been great, but they'll be absolutely buzzing in terms of the results they've got in the cup, because that's where their results have come now.
Yeah, they'll definitely be up for it. They're going to be thinking, as in, they've probably had, if they look at it, they've actually probably had a good season. Like, they were in a lot of turmoil at the start of the year, and to almost be safe now from relegation, and also to be into a semi-final with a chance of going into a final, they look at it as a good year, I think, for them. And I think they'll definitely be all raring to go on Sunday. It'll probably be near enough a sellout up there, so I think we all have to be right at it to get the win.
The prospect of the final, how much would you talk about that this week?
To be honest, it hasn't really been spoke about much. It's just been really everyone's just concentrating on the game. I think everyone was a bit down from the game coming in on Monday. Everyone was a bit disappointed with the Derry game, and it was just all about trying to prepare now for Bray, and that was really all we've been talking about, really.
John tells us though there's a lot of guys out sick, there's knocks, so preparations haven't been as good as you'd like.
No, I think the boys who have been in training, I think training's been at a good tempo this week. It's been a tough week anyway. I think everyone's going to be raring to go, but we've had a couple of injuries for the last couple of weeks, really. I think mainly after Europe, I think the squad started to get hit with a few injuries, a few bad ones, but I think the boys that have stepped in have obviously done as well as the boys that have been missing, so hopefully come Sunday we'll be raring to go and we can get the win.
Some of the media seem to think, not down here obviously, but a lot of the media in Dublin and elsewhere seem to think Cork are the underdogs on Sunday.
To be honest, I think the media in Dublin haven't really given the squad enough respect, really. We're the only people who have pushed on Doc pretty much near enough the whole way. I think the squad's got a lot of questions asked of them when they should probably be looking at other teams rather than us. I think we're into the semi-final. If we get into the final, it'll be a very good year. Team almost guaranteed Europe. Yeah, if we get into the final, it's guaranteed pretty much with 4th place as well getting there. So yeah, the team's got a lot of stick this year, but I think we all keep that in our back pocket when we're going out into games, and that gives us a bit more motivation.
The two cup final defeats with Rovers when you were with Rovers,
no? Yeah, 2 semi-finals. We lost to Derry and Sligo.
They went on to win the cups, did they, what years?
Let me see. Sligo went on to win it, and Derry got bet by Pats in the final, didn't they, last year? Yeah.
Anything can happen in cup football, but barring a massive upset tomorrow night, it would be Dundalk in a final that you'd be playing for.
Yeah, well, you say that, but then Longford went up there with 10 men and got a 0-0 draw, so I think look, Dundalk will be massive favourites for that. I think all the pressure really is on them going into that semi-final. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're maybe 1-8 to get through. Like, I'd say that's how small the odds are for them to go through, but look, we know what we have to concentrate on. We really just have to think about our own game going into Sunday, but as I say, hopefully everyone's raring to go Sunday.
Sure, Dundalk kind of pushed Bate Borisov, and they went off and beat Roma 3-2 last night. Just shows you how close things are, you know.
Yeah, well, the league gets knocked a lot. Like, obviously there's not many too bad things going on. Like Dundalk are a good team. They, as you said, they pushed Bate very close, and then last night Bate obviously got a famous win for them against Roma. So the league's probably going in the right direction at the minute, and hopefully one or two teams can obviously make the breakthrough in Europe like Rovers did a couple of years ago.
Ireland's obviously never really in doubt with John Caulfield's contract extension. I'm sure well greeted by the rest of the squad.
Yeah, it is. I think everyone was delighted when they heard it. I think coming for a while now that it was. I think the boys sort of thought that was going to happen, but I think maybe some of the fans would also be delighted as well. Like when you look what it was like before John came, Cork was sort of a mid-table team and they weren't really challenging. They weren't really hitting their full potential. Now under John, I think they're starting to do that. I think we're going in the right direction, and hopefully we can maybe win a league next year, or hopefully win the cup this year.
And the Caulfield factor for players looking at Cork City as a prospect, no more than yourself when you signed, he's a big factor. Yeah, it is.
It was. Even when I was re-signing, I was making sure John was here because he's a massive part of the club. Like his affection for the game rubs off on everyone. Like everyone knows how much he loves the club and how much he wants everyone to do well at it. And I think that rubs off on anyone who's looking to either come here or stay here for another season or two.
And Carl, just from a player point of view, did you buy into the Conway report this week, or did you have a read?
I did have a read of it. I thought in some senses it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back for me. I think some of the thinking behind it was a bit like the 10 teams in both divisions I think was a bit of a step backwards, but it's always good for maybe people to start looking into the league and how we can go things better. Like he was obviously saying about the prize money wasn't enough and the commercial side of it needs to be improved on, which I think everyone would agree with really.
Big game on Sunday against Bray.
Yeah, look, it's one we're really looking forward to. Like, it's as a young fella, these are the games that you want to play in, and we just can't wait to get there now.
And an opportunity to get what everybody considered a bad game out of the system last Friday night.
Yeah, I think Friday was one of those nights. I think probably for both teams. I mean, we probably had a couple of chances early that would have maybe opened the game up, and if we had scored, it could have been a different night altogether. But as you say, it's not a game to remember. But we've had a really good week's training. We've worked hard, and we're just really looking forward to Sunday now.
Few bodies missing. John Kavanagh and Colin definitely out. John says there's a touch of flu or something around the squad as well. Are you worried at all that you'll have enough for Sunday with the two Stevens being cupped out as well?
Sure, I think we'll manage. I think we assembled a strong squad at the start of the year, and these are the kind of things that you have to deal with. So, as John said, we don't know exactly who we're going to have just yet, but whatever team we put out onto the pitch on Sunday, I'm sure will be a strong team. And like I say, we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we can put on a good performance and get to the Aviva.
There should be good support there as well, because I think a lot of Cork people are looking forward to going to a cup semi-final. It's 8 years, I think, since we've been. Would that be right, Hannah?
It's a while since Cork were there, and I mean, it's definitely going to be a big occasion. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Cork people in Dublin that'll come down for the game, and no doubt a lot will travel up from here as well. So it's going to be a fantastic occasion. And like I say, these are the games that you want to play in.
Johnny, from your own point of view, you missed the fair chunk of the season through injury, and that probably means a lot more to you to be playing in a semi-final.
It's been personally, I suppose, it's been very frustrating, alright, but it's been nice to get back in these last few weeks now, and the big games coming up towards the end of the season. We're at the business end now, and I'll be looking forward to Sunday, and hopefully we can all go out there and do the business.
What would it mean to get to the final?
It should mean everything. I mean, I'm here 4 years at this stage, we've not been in the semi-final the time that I've been here. I mean, last year obviously we challenged for the league, but it's just another massive occasion, great for the club and everyone involved, and just can't wait to get there.
I was just saying to John, the first goal could be key to it.
I'd say so.
Given the way the previous encounters have been, and they're so close.
Absolutely. I mean, they're a tough team to play against, and we're under no illusion it's going to be very tough on Sunday as well, particularly with them at home. So we know it's going to be a battle. But all we can focus on is ourselves, putting on a good performance, and if we can do that, hopefully we can come out with the right result.
David Cassidy's out for them. He's a big loss, isn't he?
He's a good player, no doubt about it. He's been a good player when he was at Chels, and now when he's gone on to Bray as well. So he will be a loss for them, but equally, we don't have Colin Healy in our team, who's an Irish international, and a loss for us too. So these things all balance themselves out. It's just about who performs in the day, really. Big occasions, big games. It's just about who can perform on the day, and on Sunday hopefully that'll be us.